This is I'm levitating right now. It's September 9th. You're probably listening to this on the 10th. It's the PFF Forecast. We have Peter King. The only way to wrap up one of the most ridiculous off seasons is to have someone that's seen them all. And Peter King joins us to talk about his predictions. We're going to make our predictions. We're going to get our lock of the week wrapped up and head into week one. Let's rock. I am going to tease the Peter King bit, which comes up at the end, and just say that we discuss animojis. And if you don't know what that is, then
Peter seems
you're
so
not tech savvy.
So proud of himself.
Not as tech savvy as Peter.
When I get older and I I'm happy that
am I muted?
Yeah.
He's not one of those guys.
Yeah, exactly. He's so proud of the fact that he's relatively tech savvy, especially for his age.
And he has some really fascinating predictions. So let's start with ours. And if you didn't listen to our Monday show, we went through the entire week one slate. So you can go back to that. And just for people that are wondering, for this season, we always do the right after Sunday Night Football recording. I'm going to try and put some more of that on Instagram and show you guys as we're preparing to try and talk at midnight. But we're going to go through all the games then, try and give you some line value there. And then on Thursday, we'll have a couple of things on the movement, try and get some guests in. So that's how it's going to roll. So I think we're getting close to it for this week. So we'll start with our predictions.
I just changed too, by the way.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic. I know exactly the first one that you changed without even looking. Can I guess?
You already know.
No, I haven't looked. I'm just looking at the sheet.
Okay.
I know you've changed them, but I know the one that you hated the most. And that was that you picked the Vikings to win the NFC North. And I'm guessing that you have pivoted to either the Packers or the Lions. But I'm guessing the Packers because you're a reverse jinxing kind of guy.
The numbers like the Vikings slightly. The market likes the Vikings slightly. This is the one place where I've deviated from the market.
With the Packers.
I've gone Green Bay, and I have the Vikings sliding out of the playoffs, and I have replaced them with the Detroit Lions.
Okay, so we're in lockstep there, and I encourage you to listen all the way through to what Peter has to say about this division. I was really torn, honestly. I wanted to get kind of bold and have the Lions winning it, and I'm still trying to figure out why I didn't. Because the Packers have Devontae Adams, who's the best receiver. I've pivoted here, the best receiver in this division. And they have Aaron Rodgers, who I want to say is the best quarterback, but I know part of that is just me looking at his ceiling. I feel really, really darn good about the Lions offense as a whole, even though it doesn't have those two superstars. I feel better about it than I do the Packers. And I feel increasingly good about their defense. Ultimately, though, it's just a huge jump for the Lions to make. So the Packers squeaked it out for me.
Yep.
Okay, give me a non NFC North.
Three ones we like. Three predictions we like. Here's one
I'm proud of.
I'm proud of picking Marlon Humphrey to be the Defensive Player of the Year.
Okay. Talk to me.
I think these things generally happen a year late. Gilmore being one. Gilmore performed better in 2018 than he did 2019. Marlon Humphrey was a machine a season ago in terms of forcing turnovers, in terms of everything he could provide from an inside player, outside player. I think the Ravens are going to be in more highly contested games this year. Mm-hmm. I think Marlon Humphrey is going to make even more plays that have high win probability added to them. And I think he's going to have to, because I don't think the Ravens offense is going to be as good as a season ago. But I am firmly of the belief that the Ravens are going to be as good as they were last year as far as seeding. I think they're going to be a 1 or 2 seed. So that's a pick I like. I like Marlon Humphrey a lot.
It's one of the reasons it's good we bring on guests is because we think very similarly.
Yeah.
And we place a lot of value on coverage. And I hope the NFL starts to place more value on coverage. I am also picking and this was one of the ones I was proud of, I am also picking a cornerback for Defensive Player of the Year, I'm taking Jalen Ramsey, who ironically on Twitter today, PFF did a poll, which cornerback would you pick to build defense around? Tre'Davious White, who's great, and Jalen Ramsey, and Tre'Davious White won 67% of the vote. So I'm here to set the record straight. Jalen Ramsey is the cornerback that if I am picking cornerbacks to build my team around, that I am taking. His versatility, his speed, his size, his strength, and his overall demeanor, which I love. If you do not follow Jalen Ramsey on social media, the dude is hilarious. He has it all. And I'll give you a couple of data points to back that up. If you look at Jalen Ramsey versus PFF's 10 highest graded wide receivers since 2016, 82 pass rating allowed, 24th in completions. Both are first. The dude is an absolute stud. And he obviously got this huge contract. It's a massive deal. And I think that puts him in the spotlight. I think the Rams, in order for them to make it into the playoffs, are going to need him to absolutely just ball out. So I'm going Jalen Ramsey.
Here's my issue with it. The last Defensive Player of the Year to play for a bad team, and I think the Rams are going to be bad.
You do.
So you got Gilmore last year, Donald, Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack won the 1 year the Raiders have been good. 2016, they were 12-4. Watt, Kuechly, Suggs in 2011, Polamalu in 2010. I'm having a hard time. I can't find a guy who plays. All of these players that have been Defensive Player of the Year have played for a really good team. Mm-hmm. So that's my only issue. So are you buying into the Rams more than I am?
I am trying to not overreact to how I feel about their team, which is that I don't think they've improved a whole lot. I think the Cardinals have improved a whole lot. And so I'm trying to shove that away a little bit.
I found it. The late Cortez Kennedy in 1992 played for the Seahawks and was Defensive Player of the Year. That 92 Seahawks team was 2-14.
Yeah.
So that's the last one that I'm just looking. Maybe the 01 when Strahan broke the sack record, that Giants team was like 7-9. So that was okay. But it's normally a guy who plays for a great team. So I think that when you're handicapping this, that's kind of where you start, and then
that's fair. That's fair. And I would say with the Marlon Humphrey one, I do like a lot. There are just a lot of good defensive players on that team. Okay, we spent a lot of time on defense, which is apropos. Here's one that I was excited about and I want to talk a little bit about. And that is a combo. I have Mike Vrabel winning Coach of the Year, and I have the Titans going to the AFC Championship game again, which, last year was a huge surprise. Our simulations love them. They're a value to go to the Super Bowl, their win total to win the division. A lot of value there on the Titans. And I want you to tell me what worries you most about the Tennessee Titans.
Timo brings it up. It's really a good point. The chances of both Indianapolis and Houston's quarterbacks being bad is low. Mm-hmm. So I would just say the division is my biggest concern. And not because it's brilliant. Like, it's not a division that has the Chiefs or the Ravens.
Yeah.
It's a division where you're facing two good quarterbacks.
That's fair.
But they didn't need to win the division a season ago to do exactly what you're describing. So that might be less of a deal. But as we talked with Peter about, it's teams making the Super Bowl generally have needed a lot of home games recently in the playoffs. And so that's just one. I don't hate it. I mean, I really do like Vrabel and what he's doing there.
Vrabel was 33-1, I think, to win Coach of the Year. And so that was one I was proud of. Your turn.
I think so. I have changed this, and it's against our simulations a little bit. I like the Dallas Cowboys to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, and I like Mark McCarthy to make Coach of the Year.
Okay. So let me give you what concerns me most with this team, and it's not the offense at all. It's a combo of two things. It's the defense is built on pass rush and question marks in the secondary. That, of course, worries me, especially because their pass rush is also volatile in the guys that they're relying on. And then the second thing is how bad the rest of the division is, which worries me because they should win. And we've seen countless times how the Cowboys, in this situation where everyone expects them to do it, just can't do it. But those are two biggest things that worry me. Dak doesn't worry me.
Yeah, and Peter talked about later on about the Washingtons and the Giants being bad. Philadelphia, in my opinion, is also going to be bad.
Yeah.
They lost Malcolm Jenkins, who I think is
that's why I like the football team.
A force multiplier on their defense. Their defensive line gets a year older, right, with Graham and Fletcher Cox. And on the offensive line, they're patching it up again. Lane Johnson might not even play week 1. That number has gone from 6.5 to 5.5, which is non-trivial move in week 1 of the regular season. And the receiving core is already dealing with injuries. Like, it's like a perpetual thing for them. This division could go much like it has in the past. Like 2016, I guess the Giants did okay, but I see this division as 12-4, 8-8, 6-10, and then the Giants 0-16. So like that's kind of how I see it. It's going to be a relatively simple path for them.
Okay. Here is my next one, and this has been something that I've been thinking about for a while. I've had to go to sleep with this thought for many nights, and that is that the Niners sitting atop the NFC West was short-lived, and that it will be the Seahawks that win it this year. And my thought process is as follows. The 49ers had a tremendous defense last year. It could regress to being the 5th or 6th best defense, and that would be a lot of extra added pressure on Jimmy Garoppolo. Not that I don't think he can handle it, but you're just going to be in fewer advantageous situations. And I'm very worried about the receiving core with a banged up Deebo Samuel, without Emmanuel Sanders. What they did when Emmanuel Sanders came in there, I thought was tremendous. But it really has more to do with the Seahawks. And it's not that I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo can be really good. It's that I think Russell Wilson is really good. And we've seen it for multiple seasons. And now they have potentially, I guess now there's maybe more question about their secondary with the Dunbar stuff. But they have a trio of receivers, if Josh Gordon is, makes it onto the field, that is as daunting as anyone out there. And there's a part of me that just believes that Pete Carroll is going to be woke. So I have the Seahawks winning. I have the Niners making it through the wild card, and then I have the Seahawks going all the way to the Super Bowl.
Wow. So we were talking about this on the PFF NFL show. It was me, Solomon Wilcots, and Mike Renner today. And I
watched it from upstairs.
Solomon was very concerned about the Seattle defense. He seemed to be undervaluing the secondary's impact on the front four. I think the defense is going to be fine. I also think that there's a chance
they were bad last year.
They were bad, and I think there's a chance that Carroll doesn't feel like he has to protect his defense as much, and he can let Wilson throw the football, and he can shrink variance a little bit. So I don't hate that. I mean, I still have the 49ers because I believe in Shanahan and Salah, but I wouldn't be surprised if those flipped. One was a wild card, one was a division winner. My pick that I'm proud of, Offensive Player of the Year, Derrick Henry. And here's why.
Oh, God.
I'm not trying to actually say who the most valuable offensive player is. I'm trying to think of who's going to vote.
You're trying to predict who wins.
Who's going to. And Derrick Henry has one of the easiest schedules of opposing run defenses in the NFL. Their team has one of the easiest schedules of opposing.
You know how I noticed that? I was getting rocked in a fantasy draft last night because I just, I'm trying to work at the same time. And I'm like trying to juggle the different tabs. And one of them was our strength schedule tool. I'm like, oh, snap. Derrick Henry has a really easy schedule. And then I realized he was being kept, which I should have realized if I'd done any of my homework, but I had done none.
Yeah.
So anyways.
But not only, and then the other thing is they kept 2 running backs.
True.
And Darrington Evans was fumbling in practice.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but there's nothing. And then the other thing is, it's sort of, I'm trying to think of it's sort of like the Kirk Cousins thing, where he's like, he has a dumb opinion on masks, but he knows better than to actually say, the actual thing. So he kind of like hedges. People that vote for these awards know now that a running back being the MVP is a dumbass vote, right? So they're woke enough to,
Sure.
but they actually in their heart of hearts believe Derrick Henry is the most valuable offensive player in the league. So they kind of hedge. They'll vote for Mahomes to save face among everybody, but then they'll sneak this bullshit in on us. And I think that like when the Titans play one of the easiest schedules in the league, when
they're good,
Ryan Tannehill continues to be awesome in the play action game.
Yep.
And their defense is better than it was a season ago because they're not dealing with injuries to Malcolm Butler. They get Jadeveon Clowney. And Henry runs for 1,600 yards and 20 touchdowns. They're all going to be like, oh, this is the engine.
Let me tell you something
Thomas
cool
the
about
Train.
the Titans that actually Peter didn't tell us in this interview, but that he had told us previously. And that was, I thought it was really interesting. He said Arthur Smith views every single game plan as a snowflake, an individual, unique game plan. And I didn't think I was giving Arthur Smith enough credit. I kind of thought, whatever, like everyone's getting excited about him because Ryan Tannehill was amazing. But that's the kind of offensive play caller and play designer that I want. That reminds me of how Kyle Shanahan thinks about, look, I'm going to have this run game that you've never seen before. You've seen parts of it here and there, but it's unique in and of itself. So I like that a lot. Okay, let me give you one last one. This will be short, and then we'll run through our predictions at the end. And that is that at this time next year, the name that will be continually put in the MVP conversation with Patrick Mahomes, it's going to be these two guys are going to be the ones duking it out. I'm doubling down on this take. Is going to be Joe Burrow. And it's all about the players around him. Can the Bengals players around him, they have some talent on that team, can they kind of figure it out? Can they get one or two more guys to step up? But to me, Joe Burrow has the chance to play really well this year. Maybe they don't win a ton of games, but plays really well. And next year, it's Kyler Murray on steroids in terms of how excited people are for Joe Burrow. I think he wins Offensive Rookie of the Year easily.
Yeah, and as you said, I have a type when it comes to wide receivers, but I think that Mike said this earlier today. Like if you go to wide receiver types, AJ Green, T. Higgins. Yep. You have the Tyler Boyd playing the Justin Jefferson role. They're missing a tight end, really. I mean, Uzama's a whatever type of player. So that's I'm pretty bullish on Burrow. Like I think they win on Sunday, and I think I think that's the best division in football, frankly. And they're going to be probably the worst at it, but they're going to be a team that's really, competitive week to week. And we saw with Cam Newton. Cam Newton's first 2 years in Carolina, they're 7-9. They're one of the most impressive, defense was bad. So they were but they were one of the more and exciting, tantalizing 7-9 teams. I think that's the floor for me for Burrow. I don't see an outcome where they're just garbage.
Yes.
And they're not fun to watch. I think the Bengals are going to be one of the more intriguing teams in the league.
That's the type of trait, like when you're that good of a quarterback, that's how you feel. There are only a handful of those guys in the league, but you go Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson. Oh, things are breaking down around them? Yeah, but this guy's going to get me 7 wins. Okay, I'm going to run through my NFC Championship game. I have Seahawks and the Bucks. I have the Bucks moving on. The AFC Championship, I have the Chiefs and the Titans. I have the Chiefs moving on. And then I have Chiefs, Seahawks in the Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. And I have your damn Kansas City Chiefs winning again. At least this time they beat the Seahawks. So the way that I square this for myself is that I can cheer for the Chiefs in this one without any repercussion.
So who's going to be the undrafted rookie or the unheralded rookie that gets an interception on Russell Wilson? Is it B-Poke Keys? Thaddeus Keys?
It's going to be Breeland Speaks.
Breeland Speaks got cut.
I know. They're going to sign him back
for the last time when Breeland speaks. I listen.
Okay, give me yours.
All right. I got Cowboys Chiefs. Oh, sorry. I got Cowboys Saints. And in a fanless Saints stadium, I have the Cowboys winning.
Like it.
Second time in 3 years the Saints lose a NFC Championship game at home. I have Ravens go to Kansas City, and for the second time during the 2020 season, the Ravens lose to the Chiefs. And I have the Chiefs in a historical game, George. I said this on Seren Petro's show. Clark Hunt, Lamar Hunt's family from Dallas. They moved the Dallas Texans to Kansas City to be the Kansas City Chiefs. They stick it to the hometown here, and the Chiefs beat the Dallas Cowboys. Mahomes is the MVP, and the Chiefs win. They're the first team to repeat since the 2003-2004 Patriots.
It's a beautiful story. I'm sure it'll play out exactly like that. By the way, I have the Bucks winning the NFC South in my predictions.
I do not. I have the Saints.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. My thought on that is that the Bucks are going to get hot. Tom Brady is going to get hot at some point. That's just the way this season has to go.
What's the team? So let's go through this for just a little bit. What's the team with the biggest variance in outcomes in each division? Let's do that. That shouldn't take too long.
Okay. Biggest variance of outcomes in each division. Okay, where do you want to start?
Well, let's just look at our sheet here. NFC North.
The Lions.
Yep. NFC South, I'll go Bucks for the same reason.
Yes.
That you're talking about. I think the Bucks can flame out and suck, be worse than last year because they're not able to move the ball as well as they did with Jameis, but they could win the Super Bowl.
Yep.
NFC East.
It has to be the Eagles.
Yep. I like that. Football team second runner up. Yep. NFC West.
Okay, so I want to go Cardinals here. I want to hear what you think.
Given the Niners ceiling, it's the Niners.
Yeah, I think it's the Niners too.
The Niners have 13-3, 14-2 ceiling, but they have their floor is not sturdy.
Agreed.
Yeah. AFC North.
The Browns.
Yep, love it. I'm going to go AFC South.
Oh, I'm interested.
I think it's the Colts. No. It's Houston because Houston has 3-13 potential. Mm-hmm. But
no, they don't.
10-6 potential.
Deshaun Watson by himself with the Cincy.
Pressure stuff. Yeah,
that's if he gets hurt.
Yeah, and they were 4-12 the year he got hurt.
This is fun. I apologize for being skeptical of this.
Yeah, the AFC East,
the Patriots.
Yes, my initial thought was the Dolphins because I think the Dolphins have 11-5.
They're a year away from being.
Yeah, but the Dolphins, especially in this Week 1 matchup. 3 corners that are starting caliber for the first time in over a year.
True.
I think the Dolphins are second runner up, but Patriots are variance. Patriots are variance intentionally.
Bets that I really like. The Dolphins are a sneaky make the playoffs.
AFC East.
Win the AFC East.
Correct. And then lastly, AFC West. The Chargers, because the Chargers have 3-13 potential. And everybody thinks they're at least an 8-win team. I think the Chargers, and I almost picked them for my pick to be the number 1 overall pick. I think the Chargers are going to be bad.
I'm there with you. I really struggle with this one. It's not the Raiders because Derek Carr limits that. They're just, their ceiling is too low. But I'm going to go with the Broncos. Because if the Broncos don't suck as a secondary and Drew Lock hits that 1 in 100 shot that we're going to reverse jinx him into, they could be awesome.
All right, let's run it back. Let's do least variance.
Jesus.
NFC North. I like this game.
This is fun.
NFC North.
The NFC North, the least variance. I guess it's the Packers. No. I'm sorry. It's the Bears. It's the Bears.
Because the Bears are a 7-9 to 9-17.
Yeah,
that's 100%.
I'm sorry.
I wish. Okay. The NFC South, it's the Saints.
The NFC South is the Saints?
Yes. The Saints can win with Jameis Winston. I think that they're between a 10-win team, 9-win team, and a 12-win team.
Okay. So you're thinking on one side, I'm thinking on the other, which is it's the Panthers. There is just no earthly way that they are good.
Yeah,
there's not.
But 0 wins to 6 wins is pretty vast.
It's true.
Okay. NFC East, go.
I am going to go with the Cowboys.
All right, I think it's the Giants.
So the reason I'm going with the Cowboys is that I believe that offense wins championships. And I just don't, with that nucleus, with Kellen Moore calling the plays, adding Mike McCarthy, to me, it's hard to see them winning fewer than 9 games.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm gonna go Giants because I just don't see a situation where they're any good. Okay,
AFC North. Or sorry, NFC West.
NFC West, it is. It's Seattle.
Yes, it's the Seattle Seahawks.
Thanks
to Russell Wilson.
Okay, AFC North.
AFC North. It's the Ravens.
Yeah, their high end is pretty high, but I don't see a real low floor for them.
And it's tough there because I like their under 11.5.
Yeah, I think they get there by winning like 11-5.
Yeah.
AFC South, I'm gonna go. I think it's Tennessee.
Yes.
Their schedule is too freaking easy.
100%. And the Jaguars, sneaky 6-win team.
Yeah.
When the Jets poop themselves.
All right, go AFC East.
Ooh. Least variance. Man.
This one's the easiest one on the board.
So?
Yes. Adam Gaze's Jets. Adam Gaze's Jets
will undoubtedly suck.
Will always be bad.
Yeah.
But they'll always win like 6 or 7 games. It's a lock every year. They're a 3-win team fundamentally that lucks into. Yeah.
True. Okay. I'm with you.
AFC West has to be the Chiefs. I mean, I don't think that there's really their floor is tremendously high. Their ceiling, you can only win 16 games in a year.
I have no qualms with that. All right.
That was a fun game.
That was a fun game. I think the first half of it was more fun.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna talk about our lock of the week. So as we do every single year, we're going to decide by hook or by crook on a game that we're each going to bet on and sweat out. And if we happen to win any money on it, unfortunately, we always pick it on a Thursday, so we get the ass end of every single number. But we're going to donate all of it to the charity of our choice. I think this year I'm going to split it up. I've always done children's cancer, a variety of charities, because my sister has fought cancer for the past few years. And this year I'm going to split it up between that and a couple of charities that are tied to helping vote, get people out to vote, and a school that is in predominantly Black and Latino neighborhood that I used to play basketball at.
Very good. I the international justice mission has always been one for me. That I think, the hard part is there's so much bullshit that's going on in the world that I feel like human trafficking is taking like a step back as far as being in our purview. Obviously getting out the vote is huge as well, as George said. So this will be, what are you thinking, George, as far as, because this is open to a lot of things, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. Okay. We've done the lock of the week as a teaser before.
Yes.
And we're 2-0 on it. Okay.
I knew you were going to pitch me a teaser, and let me tell you that my body
is ready.
It is ready.
Okay. I don't think that there's a better teaser leg in the history of the NFL than Green Bay plus 8.5.
I see no lies.
Okay, so that's one.
By the way, explain the combination of Vikings disdain, empty stadium, and key numbers, please.
Yeah. So the thing with teasers is, generally speaking, you're giving up. You're getting 6 points in certain cases in exchange for having to pick 2 games correctly. And so the 6 points don't always mean everything. And if you listen to the PFF Daily Betting Podcast, the first one ever with me and Ben Brown, we talk about how, the movement, for example, in the Tennessee game from plus 2.5 to minus 2.5, that's 5 points, but it's really not, because 0 is worth nothing generally. 1 and 2 are worth hardly anything. When you tease Green Bay so they're at plus 2.5 right now at Metrodome. Mm-hmm. You tease them through 3, 6, and 7, and 8 in the modern NFL, where 2-point conversions are more often, miss extra points and stuff. Those are 3 key-ish numbers. 4 is another number that's relatively key. Mm-hmm. Those 6 points are worth so much more than some of these other plays. And so not only is it the fact that I think the Packers are a good bet there, it's also the fact that you're just landing on so many key numbers there. That's one of them I like.
Okay. So that's your first leg.
But you got to pick 2.
That's the idea. That's why they call it a teaser. So I told you I wasn't going to do this. the Falcons are staring at me. They're staring at me because I can take it from 2
to 8.
to 8.
So so.
But I have a better one for you.
Okay.
I have a better one for you.
Okay.
And it's if I'm gonna go away from the Atlanta Falcons, and even if you don't know about the Atlanta Falcons from this podcast, as
we've
a football
taken
fan,
the Falcons every opening day for
every single opening day. But I have an even stinkier, pun intended, team for you to spend your money on, and that is the Cleveland Browns.
Here's my only question with that.
Mm-hmm. It's 7.5 right now.
Yes. Do you value that 14?
I do.
That's my concern.
I do.
Is that the Ravens, we both like the Cleveland Browns against the spread, and that's something we picked this week. Is that extra half point, like if you're picking between Atlanta getting 3 key numbers?
Let me tell you what matters in addition to the half point.
Okay.
The fact that last year there are scars on my body that I'm currently covering up.
I didn't even think of the Falcons.
Wounds.
I didn't even think of the Falcons.
Wow. Okay, pitch me something else then.
Okay. Here are some other ones that just go through key numbers.
Okay.
I mean, Houston tomorrow is plus 15 in the teaser.
Yep.
That's pretty damn good, I think. As well as, Carolina's plus 9, Bridgewater, I think keeps every game close. He keeps both teams in every game. By his, Washington plus 11.5 at home. You're talking about all the way through 11, which is another. I'm not touching Bears plus 9. And I'm not touching Jaguars plus 14. Our Cincinnati Bengals, George. Our hometown, right over here. plus 9.
I was prepared. So there were 2 games that I was really wanting. The spirit was willing.
Yeah.
And this is one of them.
So,
my body, it gets a tingly. By the way, I've referenced my body far too many times in this podcast. I apologize. Yeah. I said this on Monday. I'm just going to say it again because it's very important for you to understand this. The better quarterback is at home getting points.
So I've already bet this. I bet it a long time ago. It was a teaser again that I thought there's a good chance this, so a good teaser is something that might not cover the number but covers the teaser number.
Yes.
I could see the Chargers winning this game by 4. Okay, I could see them winning it by 7.
Yep. Can you see Tyrod Taylor blowing out Joe Burrow?
So is that our lock of the week? Packers plus 8.5, Bengals plus 9, 2 teams, 6-point teaser.
You always sound scientific to me when you're talking. You have that professorial thing. You're getting a little like, hey, I'm selling you something on Las Vegas Boulevard.
Right.
Sheen to you. And it makes me excited for us to sit here and sweat the living daylights out of these games. I will say this though, 15 with Deshaun Watson. Here's the tough thing that I have is like the blowout. That's what I think as well. Can this team just get the doors blown off of them? And I feel a little bit better about a team in the Bengals at home. Now, I know the home crowd doesn't matter a whole lot, but it's a new, like the Bengals are playing for their survival here. Yeah. Like they have to turn over a new leaf. There's a chance where the Texans come out and the Chiefs have just decided, you know what? We're done with this being down thing to start games. Good night.
But here's the other thing, and this is an important one. Totals matter for teasers.
True.
So the key numbers 3, 4, 7, 8, 10, 11, 14 have less probability when the game has a total of 54.5.
Correct.
Chargers, Bengals, 43 is the total.
You're telling me that Joey Buckets isn't putting up points?
Well, what I'm saying is there.
What I'm saying
there's
is
a lot closer.
What I'm saying is this: you want to be rooting for Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And when Joe Burrow is getting more than a touchdown, against Tyrod Taylor, you're gonna want that.
Let's go.
Let's get it. So it is Green Bay teased all the way
Plus 8.5.
plus 8.5, and then our Cincinnati Bengals teased all the way to plus 9. Let's do it. Let's get this bad boy started. All right, that is our lock of the week. It is now time for the best part of the podcast, which is less of us and more of Peter King. Here he is. So it is with great pleasure that I welcome on returning guest, our friend Peter King, NBC Sports. We were going to do predictions by ourselves, Peter, and then we realized there's really no better person to come on and lecture us about what's really going to happen this season. So thank you for taking a little time to join us. It was awesome.
My predictions are always brutal, guys. You know that. And but I'm happy to sort of lay them out so that my head can be on a spike and people can just take shots at me. So
look,
that's kind of how I view my predictions.
You're doing something wrong if no one disagrees with you.
Yeah.
Let's start.
Well, the easiest thing to do every year, and I think the dumbest thing to do every year, is to pick the the next season the way the previous season ended, because it never, ever, ever, ever works out that way.
Yeah.
It's been 15 years since there was a repeat winner. Who's the best football team on September 9th, 24 hours before the opener of the season? The Kansas City Chiefs.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't I pick the Kansas City Chiefs to win the Super Bowl? Because some crap is going to happen. I don't know what it is, but it always does. So that's why I didn't pick them.
So if you want to read the entire thought process, you can go check out Peter's amazing column on NBC Sports. I want to ask you this, though. I don't want to give them all away. We'll start with the one that you struggled the most with, and maybe it was the Chiefs and them not winning as a repeat champion. What did you struggle with the most?
No, I struggled most with making a mental case and convincing myself that I should pick Tampa to win it all. And that's what I did. But I keep coming back to three factors about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They turned it over 41 times last year. When you turn the ball over 2.6 times per game, and yet you still win 7 games, and you should have won 9, because Jameis Winston handed the last 2 games of the season to Houston and Atlanta on a silver platter with 6 picks, including a walk-off pick on the last throw of his Tampa Bay career. Fitting that was the last throw of his Tampa Bay career, that it was a walk-off pick 6. But there's that. And, you know, the last team to turn it over that many times in the National Football League,
I'm ready for
Cleveland Browns, when the Browns went 0-16.
Oh, my God.
So there's got to be something to this team that allows you to turn it over willy-nilly and still win 7 games. And obviously they should have won more than that. That's one piece. Second piece is you guys had this great stat that the worst team last year in your metrics, the worst receiver group in football last year is the New England Patriots. So I might argue, with the exception of Mike Evans being hobbled entering the season, I don't know if he's going to even play against the Saints with Mike Evans being hobbled, that this not only might be the best receiver group, wide receivers, tight ends in the NFL this year, but it might be the best that Tom Brady's ever played with. Wow. And then finally, just this narrative last year when Brady is not playing great at the end of the year and the Patriots are struggling mightily, that Brady's finished, that, his best days are over. Well, of course his best days are over. He's 43 years old, but he's not finished. So that's why I picked the Bucs to win it all. And also, I picked the Saints to win the division.
Yeah.
But then the Bucs to win 3 in a row on the road in tough places, obviously. And then
to play at home,
the Super Bowl against Baltimore.
This would be the first wild card team to win a Super Bowl since the 2010 Packers, and the first team without a bye to win the Super Bowl since the 2012 Ravens. That's But buys don't mean as much anymore because there's one fewer of them. So that's interesting.
Well, it just would be so funny for them to play on the road until the Super Bowl and then to play at home.
Yeah.
That
would be fun.
That would be fantastic.
But you're right.
So here was one that, and this kind of aligns with the Tampa Bay. You know, I think we're in the same place that this could be amazing. I want to flip it to the Patriots, who in your comeback player of the year ballot, I noticed there was a name missing, and that was Cam Newton. And I'm wondering, do you just have no idea what to do with New England, or do you not think it will work?
I have no idea what to do with New England. I'm pro Cam Newton. I think he's going to be pretty good, but I just don't have any idea, honestly, how well they're going to play or how they're going to play. I'm totally mystified by the Patriots. And, you know, obviously because I didn't pick them to make the playoffs, I think they're going to struggle. And look, you guys would know this a lot better than I would, but anytime I watch the Patriots play a football game, the vast majority of the time, I do not say if they play a good defensive game, man, their defensive line was great. Mm-hmm. I either say their secondary was great or their linebackers were great. And you look at their linebackers, and depending on what week you could pick out, they lost 4 starting linebackers. Mm-hmm. Now, it's one thing, you knew that Kyle Van Noy was going to go to the highest bidder, and I thought he was absolutely tremendous last year. And, you know, but then Dante Hightower is gone. And that to me is a bad loss for them. Mm-hmm. He, to me, is the nerve center of their defense. He and Devin McCourty. And, you know, I think it was a little touch and go with McCourty, quite honestly, whether he might opt out.
Wow.
But he didn't opt out. He's playing. I think the linebackers, unless somebody like Josh Uche, who I think really could be a big star in this defense, his body lean when he rushes the passer, I mean, I'm not saying he's Lawrence Taylor, but his body lean, he gets so low to the ground when he goes around the edge. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the real great pass rushers who can make their bodies do freakish things. We'll see, but I think he's an interesting prospect.
I loved Defensive Rookie of the Year going to Josh Uche. I thought that I was jealous. I had take envy there, Peter. I was like, damn, I wish I had said that a couple of days ago. Let's talk a little Cowboys here, because we are obviously pro Mike McCarthy after he visited us here in Cincinnati, and we're hoping that they're great. You also have Dak Prescott making some moves in the MVP voting, not winning. So it all clicks for Dallas in your mind?
Dallas has the big advantage of being in the weakest division in the NFC. And by that, I mean, I think Dallas probably, if I had to bet right now, they're going 4-0 against Washington and the Giants. Yeah. Can you say that the Saints or the Vikings or the 49ers or the Seahawks is going to sweep 2 teams in their division? I can't. But I think Dallas has the great advantage of being this year in the NFC East, while the Giants, you know, are rebuilding, and while Washington is really rebuilding as well. And then you look at the rest of their schedule, and yeah, they got some tough games, no question about it. They got to go to Baltimore. You know, they've got some tough games. The NFC West is a tough division, but you know, they've also got Arizona at home, which is, you know, assuming that they're going to have a bunch of fans there, that's an advantage. You got Pittsburgh at home. You got Cincinnati. They got some eminently winnable games on their schedule. So to me, I think it all lines up for Dallas to be the number 1 seed. But again, you've got to be sure that the explosiveness on offense is going to cover for some major holes in the back seven on defense. Their defensive front will compete with San Francisco, I think, assuming that Aldon Smith has a little bit left.
Yeah.
And from what I've heard, Aldon Smith has had a great training camp for Dallas.
Well, and one of the things that Dallas has that they didn't have a season ago. They were first in yards per play. They were top 10 in defensive yards per play. They have Greg Zuerlein and Jim Fossil, who are two of the best at what they do, to shore up a kicking game that was one of the reasons they were like 1-6 in games decided by a touchdown or less last year. That's not trivial. The other thing, Smith, Van Der Esch, really good in 18, poor in 19. Generally speaking, defense is one of those things that oscillates. You might get better play out of them, to your point, Peter, that will help out sort of the back end not have to deal with so much.
It has to, because if it doesn't, then they might be in some trouble and they might get overtaken by Philadelphia. But I just look at their front, and can you imagine, basically rotating, DeMarcus Lawrence, Everson Griffin, Aldon Smith. It's not many people have the pass rush depth in recent years. But again, that's an if. It's an if. Okay. Aldon Smith, he hasn't played since 2015, but I did a little film thing. We do some stuff at NBC with NFL Game Pass. So I was looking through the archive of Aldon Smith games, and he played a November game on Monday Night Football against the Bears in 2012 and had 5.5 sacks. And it was an absolute kicking of the rear end of the Chicago Bears. It was awesome. And look, it's 8 years ago, so who knows? I don't know what he is. I just know that I've heard a lot of good things about what's happened this summer.
I'm in better shape than I was 8 years ago. I don't know about you, Peter.
I'm not.
No?
I'm not, but you're jacked. Come on.
We got it. I've been trying to get as much Cincy sun as I can before it goes away. I do what I can. But I am curious, and I have the corniest joke imaginable for this, and I'm going to try it anyways. But you appear to be a one Bay man in the NFC. And I wonder if the Packers and their fan base are coming after you for this one.
Yeah.
You don't have Green Bay making it.
But, here's the way I look at Green Bay. And again, I'm not jumping on Green Bay. I could be wrong about them. But to me, I was very discouraged by what I saw with the Packers last year, especially late in the year. Last, whatever it is, say 7 games, whatever, twice they allowed 37 to San Francisco. And, how much better are the Green Bay Packers today than they were the day they walked off Levi's Stadium field?
Yeah.
First of all, Aaron Rodgers is saying all the right things. He's been wonderful. He's been a great team guy this summer. But what do you think Aaron Rodgers thinks when he looks at all these other teams loading up? He sees the Cowboys, who don't need CeeDee Lamb, take CeeDee Lamb. He looks at Denver, which already, is in good shape, decent shape receiver-wise, taken with their first 2 picks.
Yeah.
And what does he think? He just thinks, what in the world are we doing here? And I would not be surprised at all if Aaron Rodgers deep down is thinking, okay, let me do my time here, and then I'm going to be like Brady, and I'm going to get my pick of places that I can go, or I'm going to go somewhere. So we'll see what happens, but because he's not going to be a free agent. But I'm fascinated to watch what happens in Green Bay this year.
Man, there are some cool Aaron Rodgers ending his career in different places opportunities.
Yeah. What would be the most fun one?
I don't know, Peter. What do you think?
You mean where he would go?
Yeah. Non-Green Bay place that Aaron Rodgers closes it out.
You first of all have to think of what is going to happen. And so you got to watch New England this year. And in my opinion, if Cam Newton is okay but not great and they don't sign him to a long-term deal, I kind of don't think they will. Can you imagine Aaron Rodgers for 3 years with Bill Belichick?
That would be incredible.
I mean, would that be fun?
Yes.
That would really be a lot of fun. The other place that I would look at, just because I just look at the Saints. And I understand Taysom Hill. I understand all that. But I have
I don't. I actually don't, by the way. I don't
what about Jameis?
I think it would be a fantastic move for him to finish either in New Orleans or New England.
The good news is that you didn't mention San Francisco, and that means that you're a believer in Jimmy Garoppolo.
Not necessarily. I like him, but I don't like the way he ended the season.
I tried. Yeah. Peter, this was a lot of fun. You were very generous with your time. I have to give you a shout out. You are one of the more tech savvy individuals that I know, to the point where we were texting earlier today and you didn't respond with just a simple text. You sent me an emoji.
Yeah, I did.
Which, for people that don't know, is an emoji that actually has voice to it. And I go, did Peter accidentally send this to me? No, not at all.
Oh, no. I've been sending a lot of those recently.
It's awesome.
I think they're absolutely hilarious. I love them. They bring a smile to my face.
I smiled multiple times.
I might start sending them to you too, Meow.
Look,
yeah.
Listen, we're not doing this again, Meow, okay? Peter King, you are a wonderful person for joining us.
Thanks, Peter.
Have a great week one, man.
Hey, you guys have one too. Thanks a lot. I'll be in touch to steal all of your ideas and stats this weekend, so be ready.
Perfect. You can have them. I thought it was great that Peter King, who has like 2 million followers on Twitter, writes this massive, maybe the most read football column out there. Certainly it over the course of time has been. I was like, hey man, I asked you this morning, I was like, hey, do you think, Peter would come on our podcast to talk about this? I texted him in the morning and he's like, yeah, I've got 15 minutes here. Let me works it out, is sending us emojis back. The dude is just, he's so funny and comfortable in his own skin. It's awesome when we really just appreciate him talking football with us.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, just, he's a legend. I'm obviously I just watch old football stuff.
You do? I didn't know
all the
this.
time. And Peter's just randomly shows up on
Wasn't sure. Yeah. Can I tell you one quick story before we get out of here?
Is it about Pringles?
It's not.
Okay. Well,
it is not. But I did get some feedback that they like the stories at the end of the podcast.
Okay.
Shockingly, they don't like them at the beginning. The 25-minute preamble about, hey, buddy, how was your shave this morning? Doesn't get the people going.
Jeez.
So I was on Dan Patrick show this morning.
Humble brag, by the way.
Yes. So I'm nervous. I want to be right, about things and want to sound good. So I'm prepped to the gills, all ready to go, right?
Yeah.
AirPods 100% charged. Get on there. First question, boom, AirPods die. So I'm sitting there shit, I can't hear him. I'm frantically pressing my phone. Okay, great. So I get through that, whatever. I managed to pull it together. They posted the video on YouTube. And they spelled my first name Greg.
Greg
is not my first name.
That's got nickname material written all over it.
Greg.
I'm gonna call you Greg.
They called me Greg. They apparently emailed Matt Stofsky, our PR guy, 25 times to get my last name pronunciation. I sent them an audio file with my last name, but they couldn't remember my first name.
Oh, great job.
So there it is. So Greg Shahuri, a real mensch.
God, that's so bad. I remember they used to misspell my name in the local newspaper when I played. It was Egar. It was just it's like a word, man. That's the prior, right?
Like a cigar.
And it's that was your first appearance on the show, right?
Yeah.
I'm irritated for you.
Well, look, I would have gladly traded. You can spell my name any way you want.
Yeah.
Just let my damn headphones not die. But apparently it didn't sound, no one really noticed. So unless you watch the video and see me turn beet frickin' red, you wouldn't realize it.
You always handle yourself great. I interestingly, here's my ender here. I was looking at the podcast comments and your your mother, used a burner here. Brandon B. It says, George, you're a hero. The way you handled that terrifying, inconsiderate man offering you Pringles, oh, the horror. Look, there are positive comments on the YouTube video.
Bring them all to me. Hey guys, we really appreciate all of you listening throughout this entire off season. We've had a blast doing this.
We're almost here, man.
We're almost there. So I'm glad we've made it here together, and we'll make it through this season. Be smart, stay safe. Peace out.
See you Sunday night. Oh.
Thanks for watching the PFF YouTube channel. And if you want to subscribe, all you have to do is push the button. Don't forget everything you get. A little fantasy, push the button. A little green line for the gambling aspects of the game, push the button. College football, push the button. The YouTube channel from PFF.